Okay, in our previous lecture, we have completed up to the calcination and we have understood about the differences between the calcination and about the roasting. There are some common points also in the roasting and calcination. There are some differences also. So now we are going to, after the calcination or roasting step, we are going to have the ore, which is always oxide ore, irrespective of the type of ore before that. Like earlier it was hydroxide ore, then after the calcination it will be converted into oxide ore. Earlier carbonate ore, after the calcination it will be converted into oxide ore. Earlier it was sulfide ore. After the roasting it will be converted into oxide ore. Whether you carry out calcination or roasting, it will be ultimately converted into the oxide ore only. Okay. Now in this step, we are in the third step. We are in the third step where we will be converting the oxide ore. Okay, so before this stage, oxide ore, we have oxide ore. Now our aim is to get the metal. Okay, so to get the metal, this oxygen must be removed. So that removal of oxygen itself is called as a reduction. Okay, that means we are going to carry out a process which is called as a reduction. Okay, so the reduction will depend on the reducing capability of the reducing agent. So that also depends upon the metal. Okay, if it is highly reactive, then we should use the strong reducing agent. If it is less reactive, then we need not to use at all. So depend reducing agent whether to use or not, or which type of reducing agent we have to use, that depends upon the metal, ultimately the metal. Suppose if it is a highly reactive metal like sodium, so it is not possible by a reducing agent to remove the electronegative element. Okay, so here it is not only 90% we will be removing the oxygen only, but as per the recent modification in the oxidation and reduction definition, what it is, earlier the oxidation means addition of oxygen, reduction means removal of oxygen. After that, now it is modified into addition of electronegative element. It is not only oxygen, it is applicable for all electronegative elements. Okay, so addition of electronegative element is oxidation, removal of electronegative element is reduction. Okay, so that means suppose if I am converting the sodium chloride, if I am converting the sodium chloride into sodium, that also comes under the part of the reduction only. Okay, so that's why this chapter is interlinked with many other chapters. Okay, so here in NaCl, sodium chloride, oxidation number of sodium is +1. But after the reaction, if I am eliminating the chlorine, now it is in elementary form. This oxidation number is how much? 0. Okay, so oxidation number is decreased. That means reduction. We have done reduction of the sodium chloride ore. Okay, so that is what we are going to do. Okay, but 90% we will be converting the oxide ore into the metal. But even after this step also, we are going to have the impure metal. Okay, so after that, we are going to carry out the last and final step, that is refining. Okay, so that refining will be required or not depends upon the impurities left over after the reduction step. Okay, if you are doing the proper reduction in during like electrolytic reduction, so there are less chances that there can be reducing agent, there can be impurities. Okay, so if proper reducing agent and proper method are used in the reduction stage, then refining may not be required. Okay, so first of all, how to select the reducing agent and what are the methods of reducing reduction. Okay, the first type of reduction, the first type of reduction we are going to do is by the carbon. Okay, so reduction by the carbon. Okay, so reduction by the carbon is the most famous and commercially used, most famous and commercially used method because of its wide availability. Carbon is available everywhere and cheap in cost. Okay, so like aluminium in the metallic reduction is very famous because of the cost effective and more abundant. Same way, carbon being more abundant in the non-metal side and cheap in cost, Carbon is used as a reducing agent in most of the cases. Okay. So there are two types of questions arises from the carbon reduction. Okay, why carbon is widely used? Okay, what will be the basic reason why carbon is used as a reducing agent? It is cost effective. Cost is very less. Okay, and it is a good reducing agent. That is the most of the part they will be asking. Okay, but in some places options which are the following will act as a carbon reducing agent. Okay, so we are adding carbon, but in turn the carbon monoxide will be acting as a reducing agent. Okay, like in reduction of the bauxite. Okay, sorry, reduction of the iron Fe2O3 or Fe3O4 in the blast furnace, we will be adding the coke powder, but before reducing, the carbon itself will be converted to carbon monoxide, then it will be used in the reducing the Fe2O3 to Fe. So don't, if they ask which reducing agent added, then you will write carbon. Which reducing agent utilized, then carbon monoxide. Okay, so that also I will be emphasizing wherever it is required. So the process used for the commercial extraction of the iron. So where you are going to use, this will be the more than one correct answer question, where carbon is used as a reducing agent. Carbon is used as a reducing agent for the moderately reactive metal. Okay, not highly reactive metal, not less reactive metal. So moderately reactive metal like iron oxides, zinc oxide, tin oxide and lead oxides. Okay. So first of all, whether they are oxide ore or not, we will confirm it by using the roasting or calcination. After that, we are going to get the oxide ore. Okay. So oxide ore when treated with the coke powder. Here coke powder means allotropic form of the carbon itself. Okay. And sometimes we are using the flux. So what do you mean by flux? That also I am going to tell you here, and a very important topic for the mains purpose and need for AIMS getting seat. Okay. And in some conditions, if you want a government seat like JNTU Kakinada in the MSET, that also for that you are going to have the very importance about the flux. Okay. So flux will be, what is flux, that I am going to tell you. For the time being, there will be how many reagents? Reactant, three reactant: oxide ore, coke powder and flux. Okay, so finally you are going to get the metal in the molten stage. Okay, that's why it is also sometimes called as a smelting. Molten stage we are getting the metal, that's why it is called as a smelting. Okay, now here molten metal will be impure sometimes. Impure metal in the liquid state we will be getting. So because of the flux, whatever the impurities are there, they are going to convert it into slag. Okay. So the process is known as a smelting. So what do you mean by smelting? Smelting is reduction of the metal oxide by using the coke powder in presence of flux, where you are going to get impure molten metal along with the slag is called as a smelting. Okay, smelting is very important, but smelting does not require always reduction has to take place in that step. Okay, suppose copper, okay, melting is done without any reduction. This is called as auto reduction. Very so many times it is asked which of the following oxide undergoes auto reduction. Okay, auto reduction does not mean that the reduction field takes place in auto. Okay, so no reducing agent required. Understood? The impurities available like Cu2O and Cu2S. Okay, actually this is a impurity. This is a oxide ore. Here the impurity itself will act as a reducing agent, and we will be getting the copper and sulfur dioxide. So sometimes impurities also do the wonderful job. Okay, so that carbon is copper is an example where we need not to add any reducing agent. Okay, so that time also we will call it as a smelting only. Okay, so the roasted or calcinated ore must be porous, because porous mass makes larger surface area. Okay, here the rate of reaction in chemical kinetics we have studied. Rate of reaction depends on the surface area. Okay, surface area. Suppose if we have a lump like this, okay, then surface area will be less. And if it is porous, porous means there is a hole like this, okay. Now this surface area is also exposed for the reducing agent. So more number of pores, then more will be the surface area, more will be the rate of reduction, okay. So rate of reduction will be increased. That's why we will try to take the ore in the powdered form, and if it is in the solid form we will try to make it a porous form, okay. Now this is all about the carbon reduction. First of all, what is smelting, okay, and what is the speciality of the reduction of copper, understood, and when carbon reduction is used for the which metals, make a note of it. Then we are going to study about the flux, okay. So flux also, I am going to give you some important points that will be handwritten by me. Okay. So note down this, then we'll go for further. Okay, now we are going to start with the flux, gong, and slag. These three are the interrelated terms. Okay, so while teaching this, I remind the thermodynamics. Okay, so in the thermodynamics, there are three related terms like this only, like system, surrounding, and universe. Okay, so like the part of the universe which is under observation is called as a system. Anything which affects the performance of the system but separated by a boundary is called as a surrounding. And finally universe. Okay, like that here also our aim is to remove the impurities. Okay, so the impurities which need to be removed is called as a gong. Okay, for removing the impurity, what we have to do, we have to add something. We have to add some new substances. Deliberately, we have to add some new substances. That substance which need to be added along with the ore to remove the impurity along with the gong is called as a flux. And when you add the flux, automatically flux goes to the gong and makes it a infusible floating material. Okay, infusible floating material. So that means, like suppose if you keep on heating the milk, okay, so milk here we will call it as a metal, okay, we will call it as a metal oxide. Now in that whatever the fat is there, okay, fat is there, that will still keep on floating over it, infusible, that is not in the form of the liquid, okay, that is in the solid form. So this slag will be this one. Okay, slag will be just floating over the metal. Okay, and because of this, there will be some good advantage also. Like atmospheric oxygen cannot come into the contact of the molten metal. In the smelting, I told you the metal will be in which form? Molten form. So molten metal will not be coming in contact with the oxygen due to the protective layer of the slag. Okay, so advantages of adding flux. How many advantages are there? Two types of advantages are there. Flux not only removes the gong as a infusible material called as a slag, and also protect the molten metal from further reduction. Okay. What is gong? Impurities. What is flux? The additional substance which need to be added to remove the gong. And what is slag? Slag is a combination of the gong and flux. Okay. So this I will let me take suppose silicate, sand particles are there along with our metal. So to remove that, what I will be adding? CaO. Okay, so this I am adding deliberately. Then it will become as a flux. Okay, SiO2 already present with the metal. Okay, that's why this will become as a gong. Okay, now gong and flux, they both will combine to form the calcium silicate, CaSiO3. So this is called as a slag. Okay, how it will be? This will be the floating over the molten metal. Okay, so I think is it understood? Now the flux also should have the interest and courage to go and react with our gong. Okay, So what is the process of selecting the flux? That depends upon the gong available. Suppose if gong is basic, then we have to use acidic flux. If gong is acidic, then we have to use basic flux. Okay, that I am going to explain you in the next slide. Okay, see here, choice of flux depends upon the nature of gong or impurity available. Okay, so it is not necessary that same substance will remain as impurity. Sometimes substance will be same, that may be treated as a gong, and sometimes that may be treated as a flux. Okay, suppose if you are dealing with the iron, okay, if you are dealing with the iron, so iron contains silicon dioxide as a impurity, understood? But sometimes silicon dioxide we will add on our own if there is a impurity like iron oxide, manganese oxide. Okay, so a substance will never be permanent gong or permanent flux. Okay, substance will change time to time. Same substance we will call it as a flux, sometime we will call it as a gong, depending on the thing we wanted to purify. Okay, suppose if you wanted to purify the iron, that time the impurity SiO2. So that time that will be treated as a gone. So, but if you wanted to purify some other substance, okay, like zinc oxide, something else, and it contains the FeO, so this time it will become as a gong. Okay. See here, earlier we call it this SiO2 as a gong. Now we will add deliberately SiO2. That will become as a flux. Okay. So anything we want, that reaction must be taking place between the flux and gong. Okay. So for that, if our acidic nature gong is there, to get it reaction, we have to add the basic nature gong flux. So they both will add each other like basic flux, okay, and acidic gong. Sometimes this will be flux, this will be gong, okay. So finally we will get the same slag, understood? Finally we will get the same slag. If already present, this will be impurity. If we are adding, then it will be flux, okay. So another example, LiCl. LiCl when treated with the AlCl3, we will have a salt of, actually this is basically salt only. Here also salt, acid plus base. Obviously what we are going to get, we are going to get the salt. Okay, slag formation is a kind of acid base reaction. Okay, note down. So here types of carbon reduction. Okay, first type of reduction only we have studied. In that also there will be types. Okay, so first one will be direct reduction of the oxide ore. Sometimes even though we are adding the carbon, okay, so that directly it may act as a reducing agent. Okay, direct reduction. So first example where carbon itself will directly act as a reducing agent, like Fe2O3 iron oxide, it will directly react with the carbon which we are adding as a coke powder. Okay, will be forming the 2Fe plus 3 carbon monoxide. Actually, this carbon monoxide will be further used in the further steps. Okay, so if some more Fe2O3 is left over, okay, then this carbon monoxide produced in the first step will react with it and further reduce it to form the carbon dioxide. Okay, this we will study in the blast furnace again, no problem. Second example, SnO2, tin oxide. Okay, so first it will act with the carbon coke powder. Okay, then what it will form to 1 mole of Sn and 2 moles of carbon monoxide. So this carbon monoxide will further utilized in the reduction of further substance produced. Okay, so then it will form as a Sn plus 2 CO2. Okay, so like this, the carbon directly acting as a reducing agent, and also whatever the product produced will again act as a reducing agent. Okay, so first direct reduction in the, this is a part of the type of carbon reduction only. Okay, so note down this, then we will go further. Okay, previously we have studied the direct reduction. Okay, where it will be converted into carbon, will be converted into carbon monoxide and reduce the oxide ore into the metal. And after that, metal oxide will be further reduced by the carbon monoxide. First step it was carbon, second step it was carbon monoxide. Okay. So after the direct reduction, now it is indirect reduction. Carbon only will be indirectly, okay, indirectly reducing. So indirect reduction of sulfide ore, carbonate ore, and sulfate ore. Okay, this indirect reduction will takes place. Indirect reduction. See, I will show you the previous one where we have studied the direct reduction. Okay, direct reduction of oxide ore. Okay, now here the indirect reduction will be taking place in how many cases? Three conditions. Okay, first one will be the sulfide ore. For example, if we take the zinc sulfide. Okay, second one will be the carbonate ore, where see zinc carbonate, and third one will be the sulfate ore, see lead sulfate. Okay, so in this one, indirectly that will be reduced for here. Indirectly in the sense, let us take oxidation number as a +2 here, here +2, and coke. Then if you are using the coke, then it will be directly converted to the +2 to 0. It will be converted from the +2 to 0. Okay. So initially reduced to sulfide. See sulfides into the sulfides. Okay. Then sulfide again will be following the same path followed by the zinc sulfide. Okay. So note down these three examples of the indirect reduction. Indirect reduction will be done in three conditions: sulfide ore, carbonate ore, and sulfate ores. Okay, after the first is direct reduction by the carbon, second by the indirect reduction by the carbon, and third one will be the self reduction. Here the word itself says the self reduction, or sometimes we call it as a auto reduction also. Okay, so in this auto reduction, what, and it is applicable not everywhere, it is applicable only for the sulfide ore, and that too sulfide ore of the lead, sulfide ore of the copper, sulfide ore of the mercury only. Okay, so here no reducing agent, as it is mentioned self, so no other reducing agent is required. Okay, now how it happens mechanism: first sulfide ore will be partially roasted. How roasted? Partially. Suppose we are taking the 100 molecule and we are giving the oxygen, so all sulfide ore will not be converted into oxide ore. So partial, few will be converted, few will be left over in the sulfide form only. Okay, so partially roasted, then they will be converted to which ores? Oxide ore. That oxide ore will come and react with the unreacted sulfide ore. Unreacted sulfide ore, and they will be reduced to the metal. For example, we have so many molecules of the lead sulfide, so many molecules of the lead sulfide. When it is treated with the oxygen, okay, then what happens? Some oxygen will be used in the converting of the sulfur into the sulfur dioxide. Some oxygen will be used in the conversion of lead into the lead oxide. So this lead oxide and some lead sulfide is still left over. That's why this word is used, called as a partially. That means unreacted lead sulfide. This is a partially reacted lead sulfide. So this lead oxide, which is reacted and converted into lead oxide, and partially, which is not reacted and converted into oxide ore, they both will combine with each other. So this lead and this lead will be molten form in a metal form. Okay, this sulfur and this oxygen will be converted to sulfur dioxide. Is it clear? Sulfur self reduction is very important, and if it is asked in the JEE mains or NEET, which of the following will not undergo self reduction? Okay, so for that you should check, it should not be sulfide ore, or it should not be sulfide ore of the lead sulfide, copper sulfide, and mercurous sulfide. Okay, note down, then I will dictate the notes. Okay, during this reduction, some molecules of sulfide ore, some molecules of sulfide ore converted into oxide ores, some molecules of sulfide ore converted to oxide ore, and oxide ore formed oxide ore formed will be reacting with unreacted sulfide ore will be reacting with unreacted sulfide ore and reduce them to elemental metal elemental metal elemental metal. Okay. Okay, next one is the thermite reduction. So it is also called as a Goldsmith thermite process, and it is applicable for the following metals like Mn3O4. Okay, so second one is the TiO2. It is applicable for TiO2, Mn3O4, and Cr2O3, Cr2O3, and Fe2O3. Okay, so these are the metal oxide which can be reduced by using a common reducing agent aluminium. But for this purpose we have to initiate the reaction. Okay, initiate the reaction by using the magnesium ribbon. Okay, so this reaction requires high temperature for reaction to initiate. Understood? So anyhow, if we are using the aluminium, Mn3O4 will be reduced to manganese, and our Al will be in all product, the common product will be Al2O3. Common product will be Al2O3. Common reactant is aluminium. Here Mn3O4 will give you the elemental manganese, or you can get the titanium. Okay, in case of this, and you can use the chromium, you can get the iron. Okay, and the main thing is that they all will be found in the liquid state. What they will found? They will be found in the liquid state, and this will be in the sulfur. Okay, so as it is found in the liquid state, this can be used for the welding purpose. Okay, that's why this is also called as a thermite welding. Okay, wherever if you wanted to do the welding by the iron, most probably we will be using the iron welding railway tracks. Okay, so in the railway tracks, this is used for joining the broken railway tracks. We have to use this method. Okay, simply we will be using a crucible contains the metal which is to be used for the welding purpose. Suppose if you want to join the railway tracks by the iron, simply we will take the iron oxide. Okay, and we will mix with the aluminium. For initiating the reaction, we will be using the magnesium ribbon. Okay, so magnesium ribbon, when it is undergoes oxidation, it will give you the magnesium oxide, and during that the exothermic reaction, it is a highly exothermic. So that heat will be utilized for combining the Fe2O3 with aluminium. Okay, so and that product will be simply it is it is oxidation redox reaction. Aluminium will be converted to or oxidized to aluminum oxide, whereas Fe2O3, where it is oxidation number is +3, will be reduced to molten iron. Okay, so that is the difference between the and aluminium. Why it is used? Because of the cheap in cost. Cheap in cost it will be used. That's why it is also called as aluminothermite method, or the process which is used in the welding of the railway track. That's why it is called as a thermite welding, or somewhere it is mentioned as a Goldsmith thermite process. Okay, note down. Okay, for example, if you wanted to weld this railing, okay, this is what our railing rail track. Okay, we will be using 3:1 aluminium powder. Okay, uh, thermite powder we call it as Fe2O3 and Al. Okay, so here 3:1, and it is on the surface. You will have a powder which is called as oxidizing powder, which is contains KClO3, BaO2, and magnesium. Okay, and for initiation of the reaction, magnesium ribbon. So then this reaction will takes place Mg plus Al plus Fe2O3. You will be getting the iron in the molten form. So that iron will be joining this broken railway track.